Good morning, everybody. This is the third day of Mr. Lambert's evidence. As usual, it will be transmitted over the live link, but after a 15-minute delay, those with mobile devices may use them to transmit what they hear in the hearing room, but again, only after 15 minutes have elapsed since the event that they're describing. They may not be used for recording or photography. Mr. Barr.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Lambert, we're now moving to the question of Detective Constable Jenner's long-term sexual relationship with the woman we are calling Alison. The evidence we have received is that Detective Constable Jenner formed a sexual relationship with Alison very early on in his deployment, and there came a time in February 1996 when he moved into her flat with her. We further heard evidence that before he did so, he spoke to 3 of his undercover colleagues. One of those 3, he says, was HN1. The other 2 are wholly anonymous officers who we are not going to refer to even by nominal in this open hearing. Mr. Jenner's evidence is that at least one of those officers came to speak to you about the proposal that he should cohabit with activists. Do you recall, without identifying anyone other than HN1, anyone coming to speak to you because Detective Constable Jenner had said to them he was contemplating moving in?
No.
Might it have happened?
I think, no, it might not have happened in those terms.
What is your first recollection of knowing that Detective Constable Jenner was going to cohabit with Alison?
I don't think I ever had any knowledge of him cohabiting with Alison.
Could we have up, please, 749473? This is tab B209, sir. Could we have page 12, please? This is part of documents relating to DC Jenner. The start of that file, there was a document which has Alison's address, and we see it again on this page. This page is a floor plan with Alison's address, saying it was a ground floor rear flat, and from the existence of both a mobile and pager number, this can be dated to some time after Jenner has moved into Alison's flat. Do you recall this document?
I don't recall it, but I have been shown it in the course of preparations for this inquiry.
And did the SDS at this time keep details on file of the living arrangements of its undercover police officers?
Not that I recall. I'm not sure, what purpose this had. I'm not sure what date attaches to it. I have speculated, I think, on possible uses for it, but I'll wait to be guided by you.
Am I understanding your evidence correctly that holding a floor plan on file was not standard practice?
Well, not to the best of my recollection.
The inquiry has received evidence to the effect that this floor plan is a fiction.
That it is a
Fiction.
fiction.
It is labelled as if this was a property of multiple occupation with 3 rooms, a bathroom and a communal kitchen. The inquiry has received evidence that in fact room 1 was the living room of Alison's 2-bedroom flat. Room 2 was the main bedroom. There was a bathroom, a kitchen, and a small second bedroom labelled room 3 here.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, well,
Do you know who drew this plan?
no, I don't.
Detective Constable Jenner's evidence was that it was almost certainly him. Do you have any reason to doubt that?
No.
You did know, didn't you, where Detective Constable Jenner was living because the address is on SDS documents?
Oh yes, I knew about a move to this address, and I think certainly I've seen reporting on it from the time which I can remember.
Mr. Jenner's evidence to this inquiry is that you knew that he was living with Alison and was in a sexual relationship with her, and that you knew that this document was a fiction.
Well,
Let me ask you a question at a time.
Yeah.
Is it right, in fact, as Detective Constable Jenner has told us, that you did know from an early stage that he was living with Alison?
No.
In a sexual relationship?
No.
And that this document was deliberately drafted so as to not leave a written trail admitting that he was in a sexual relationship living in a 2-bedroom flat with Alison?
No.
Did you ask DC Jenner who he was living with?
My recollection is that I knew he was moving into some multiple occupancy flat share or a house share. That the landlord, I think that the landlord or the owner was one of his associates, and yes, I think I knew it was a woman, but I was under the impression that there were other occupants. I'm sure that I think at some point, I think I write about that in notes that I've been shown.
My question was,
yes.
Did you ask him who he was living with?
Well, he provided information.
Did you ask him who he was living with?
I can't recall now.
wouldn't it be an important fact for you as his manager to know?
Well, of course.
I would like to be clear. Are you saying that you would have asked him?
Well, I can't recall that, but whether he may have, obviously, he would have volunteered information, and I would have received it. Whether it came from a question, I don't know.
Told you what the gist of Mr. Jenner's evidence to this inquiry. I would like to know whether your recollection is he lied to you about who he was living with or not.
Well, no, I don't. I don't see. I don't know. Is it whether... I can't really comment on that. Certainly, I was not told either directly by him or indirectly that he was involved in a sexual relationship with a fellow occupant.
Did you know that he was living with Alison in a 2-bedroom flat?
I knew that, well, yes, I think I knew that they were in the same accommodation.
It's not quite my question. Did you know he was living with Alison in a 2-bedroom flat?
Well, I can't recall today. No, I can't recall the layout of the flat, and all I can see here is obviously, a different layout, communal kitchen. That was certainly the impression that I had.
So your evidence is that by drawing this diagram, Jenner has actively deceived you.
Well, I can't say that specifically about this diagram. I don't know when it was written down. I don't know at what point and for what purpose it was produced.
You see, Mr. Jenner's evidence is that he only trusted certain people with the actuality. The 3 undercover officers he spoke to and you. He would have every reason to trust you, wouldn't he, because of your undercover experience?
No, I don't accept that.
And you were the go-to man on the unit to deal with difficult issues, weren't you?
Well, I accept that generally.
You have been very careful in your evidence so far to stop short of accusing Mr. Jenner of lying. It's the reality that is because you did know full well that he was living with Alison, cohabiting in a 2-bedroom flat.
No.
In a sexual relationship.
No, that's not quite right.
Can we take that document down now, please? Can we go to 749325? This is a document from some time later. It's dated the 31st of July 1997. It's about Detective Constable Jenner, with his code name at the top of the page. The background, you may recall, is that he had been approached by an activist we are calling Jamie. We've added Jamie to the cipher list if you need to refresh your memory as to who Jamie really was, with a view to joining a small cell to plan serious direct action. And there had been a meeting of the cell's members, but no concrete plan had emerged. Do you recall getting to that stage of affairs?
Only by being, only from reading this. I don't have an actual memory of it.
The position is that yet again, an officer in the SDS appears to have got themselves into a position where they may be invited to participate in a significant criminal conspiracy.
Yes.
And your strategy would be the same as it was with HN26 and with HN1, namely, you were pleased about that, but you needed to be careful how you proceeded in order to be able to gain relevant intelligence.
Yes.
And that you knew that one of the things that might happen if Detective Constable Jenner became involved in a conspiracy is that you may have to call in other police assets such as surveillance teams.
Yes.
In much the same way as occurred when you were deployed and there was surveillance on Clark and Shepherd.
Yes.
And this presents a problem, doesn't it?
Yes.
And in the case of Detective Constable Jenner, a particular problem is that he is cohabiting in a 2-bedroom flat with Alison.
Well, that wouldn't have been a problem that I was factoring in at this time.
Just the two of them in this 2-bedroom flat.
That was not my understanding at all.
And you and Detective Constable Jenner spoke about how he should proceed given Jamie's approach, including the challenges that arose as a result of his living arrangement and sexual relationship.
No.
Give you a moment to look at the document. If you want to see it all, if you tell me you've read this and are familiar with it, we can go straight to a paragraph by paragraph analysis.
Yes, do that, yeah.
If we have paragraph 2, please. So that is just outlining essentially the classic approach the SDS would take in this sort of situation, isn't it?
Well, in general terms, disruption covers many options, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's saying, for example, disruption. Another option would be to try and secure a conviction, as had happened in the past.
But just the idea of disruption itself, it's not just, I think, obviously not just one tactic.
Understood. Can we look at paragraphs 3 to 5, please? So immediately after discussing the conspiracy, we move to accommodation. I'll give you a moment to refresh your memory.
Oh, sorry, where do you want me to look?
Just to look at all three of these
Right.
paragraphs, please.
Yes, thank you.
Right, let's start with paragraph 3. This describes a change in living arrangements. And it says, in a nutshell, he now shares the premises, a large house, originally split into several bedsits, with friends. What was the basis for saying that?
Well, that was clearly my understanding at that time.
Well, was it? Because you had a floor plan showing a single rear of house flat.
Well, I'm not sure that I necessarily had that floor plan prior to this.
And the truth was, Jenna was living with Alison in a 2-bedroom flat.
Well, I understand that now, but what I understood at the time, the only thing I can be pretty clear about is what my understanding was at the date that I wrote this note.
Where did you get your understanding from?
I would have obviously got it from the officer.
So if the truth is that Jenna is living in a 2-bedroom flat with Alison, are you saying that he lied to you and told you he was living in a house of multiple occupation?
Yes. I'm not saying anything beyond really what's in here, this paragraph 3. A large house, originally split into several bedsits with friends, including most notably.
And then the 3.
And I just call into question where that floor plan, when and where.
We pinned it down to 1996 from the fact he has both a mobile phone and a pager.
Sorry.
My understanding of the evidence was we pinned it down to 1996 from the fact he had both a pager and a mobile telephone.
Well, okay, but purpose, no, I'll leave it. I don't know. I'm just unsure about the time and the purpose for that note, but.
Understood. He says you knew the true position, yet you are writing down that he is living with specific anarchist activists, and there are 3 names which we are keeping private. Where did you get those names from?
I could only really have got them from the officer, Mark Jenner.
Well, he wasn't living with those 3 people, so are you asserting now that he lied to you?
Well, I don't want to make that assertion because I can't recall, but sitting here this morning, I can't think of any other explanation. all the details originally supplied by the operative remain accurate, including details of the landlord.
The landlord was Alison. That's who he was paying rent to.
I'm not sure that whether I ever knew, I knew that the landlord referred to, and Alison, as I know now, I recall that I understood her that she had some connection to, was an activist then.
It says again, anarchist activist, which seems to be harking back to the documents that we saw from the beginning of the deployment, which wrongly characterise the nature of the majority of the people that DC Jenner actually interacted with.
Yes,
that seems to have been a mistake of yours. Are you again perpetuating records, asserting connections with anarchism, when in fact DC Jenner is working mainly with people who are not?
I would have been able to answer that clearly at the time. I'm sure I would have understood it to be accurate, or reasonably accurate. I can't help today.
By the summer of 1997, when this document is generated, approximately 2 years into Jenner's deployment, you would have seen a lot of his reporting, and you would have spoken to him a great deal about his deployment, wouldn't you?
Yes.
You would have known full well that he predominantly was not mixing with activists, with anarchist activists.
I don't know.
And it doesn't matter in this document because it's a fiction.
Because
this whole section is a fiction.
No, I don't accept that.
All the details originally supplied by the operative remain accurate, including details of the landlord and rent. Well, the landlord and rent most certainly had not changed. The other details, namely it was a flat, had changed, because you're writing here it's a large house. Again, that discrepancy didn't matter to you because this was all just a fiction.
No, I don't accept that.
Happy to receive a combined amount of rent from a group of friends. You are portraying DC Jenner, 3 activists living together in a large house, paying combined rent to the landlord.
Yes.
A landlord that you knew was living in the premises as well.
Yes.
If further people had moved in and the rent was being divided, a combined amount of rent, there would have been a change to how much rent Mr. Jenner was paying, wouldn't there?
Yes.
And that would have been recorded in the financial records, wouldn't it?
Quite probably, almost certainly, yes.
Touchy subject still enjoys the space and privacy of his own room in the house, but is able to share the communal facilities, eating, drinking, TV, etc., with a group of like-minded friends. That analysis simply doesn't fit with the geography of a 2-bedroomed rear of house flat, does it?
No, it doesn't.
I come back to, did you get this information specifically from Detective Constable Jenner, or is he right in his evidence to the inquiry that this was inaccurate and it was a fiction that you contrived so that you did not have to record the truth?
Well, no, I don't accept that.
And then if we move to paragraph 4, and essentially it is recording that the arrangement, the accommodation arrangement, is working very well for Jenner. Very good for his credibility. That's one point that arises from that paragraph, isn't it?
Beg pardon, sorry?
It's good for his credibility
Yes, yes,
with Jamie.
yes.
And it's also good for him personally in how he is arranging his life.
Yes.
And it's right, isn't it, that Detective Constable Jenner did find living with Alison good for his cover and very convenient for him.
Well, I can't comment on that, really.
And having set up a fictional cover to his living arrangement, you are here moving closer to the truth and recording the true benefits of living with Alison, aren't you?
But that was not my understanding at the time.
And if we look at paragraph 5, that is more of the same, isn't it? The living arrangement is working out very well.
Yes.
And then if we look at the very bottom of paragraph 5, he said he could not contemplate going back to living on his own in a bedsit.
Yes.
Returning to the context of this document, namely the conspiracy he'd been invited to join and the likely police action that might need to follow, Jenner is making absolutely clear that he doesn't want to move out, isn't he?
Yes.
And that leaves a difficulty, doesn't it?
Not, well, at the time, no, I don't know, I don't think that,
Can we go to, well, before I go that, why would that be recorded if it was not an important fact that he wasn't going to move out?
I've slightly lost the thread.
Why would you record the sentence at the end of that paragraph? He said he could not contemplate going back to living on his own in a bedsit.
Well, this is just recording, isn't it? Reporting, I'm obviously addressing the issue of the change and the issue of undercover officers on their own in a bedsit and reporting his, at the time, what I understood to be his view on it. So it would be of interest to my boss, the DCI, and the others reading it.
Was it really a reflection of the fact that this arrangement was working out so well that it wouldn't be a good idea to change it, but you were going to have to tell people outside the SDS that a fiction, namely that Jenner was living in a house of multiple occupation with other people, so as not to have to disclose the truth, which he was living in a sexual relationship with Alison?
No, no, I'm sure that wasn't the case.
Could we go over the page to 7 and 8? Sorry, if you wanted to add more, please do.
No.
To paragraph 7 and 8, please. The intervening paragraph was about Detective Constable Jenner's home life, but returning to 7 and 8...
Yes, thank you.
First of all, you're explaining to him that he was not the first field officer to arrive at the conclusion that living with an activist was a good idea, without naming, I don't want you to mention even the nominal of any closed officer. If it's an open officer, you can do so. Who were you referring to?
Not the first to arrive at this conclusion. It's only about the issue of living alone, isn't it, that I'm addressing here in paragraph 7.
Can you tell us the examples that you were thinking of?
Well, the first one to come to mind is John Dines.
Who had lived with Helen Steele?
Well, to my knowledge, lived in sort of multiple occupancy. I think in the squatting community. I'm sure. I think there might be.
HN87? HN87?
87, perhaps.
We may have to come back to that because he's...
Yeah, sorry, it's a long list, isn't it? They're not...
Goes on. The SDS had past experience of operatives successfully living with wearies exactly as he's doing now. Nonetheless, there were obvious ways in which shared accommodation did place an added burden of responsibility and pressure on a field officer. We discussed this at some length. Can I take that at face value, that you discussed Jenner's living arrangements with him and their consequences with him at some length?
Yes.
I want to be clear on your evidence. Are you saying that this conversation was an exercise in practiced deceit by DC Jenner in that he conducted it without telling you the truth was he was living in a sexual relationship with Alison, or was it a discussion in which, as a trusted manager, he disclosed the full truth to you?
Cool. Well, I can't remember today. I think at the very least it would be something neither of the two options that you put to me. I think at the very least it would have been a discussion about what it was, at least the difference between living on your own in a bedsit and living with others.
the burden of responsibility and pressures discussed at some length. You haven't answered my question. Did Jenner deceive you by concealing the truth from you, or was he frank with you about his living arrangements?
Well, obviously not. No, not as frank as I took it to be at the time. I can see that now, but the the added burden. I mean, I think there could be quite a lengthy discussion about the psychological burden involved here, irrespective of whether I'm not being told, not being given the full picture in regard to the actual accommodation arrangements and, of course, the sexual relationship with Alison. But nevertheless, there'd still be a mutual, there would have been my appreciation of the added burden that he was under. There would have been no doubt about that.
Going back to the paragraph, we needn't bring it up. Going back to the paragraph about his supposed new housemates. If there had been a significant change in Jenner's living arrangements, you would have expected him to tell you about it when it occurred, wouldn't you?
Yes.
And it would have been recorded when it occurred, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Why is it then that it doesn't get a mention until a document which starts off with the real subject matter, which is Jamie's conspiracy?
Well, I can't quite account for, I can't account for that today. But clearly my understanding at the time I wrote this, that it was a recent move.
When did the change in living arrangements occur?
I can't recall.
Do you recall any sense of surprise that Mr. Jenner's living arrangements had changed so dramatically?
I'm sorry?
Do you remember any sense of surprise learning that Jenner's living arrangements had changed so dramatically?
No, I can't recall.
Can you recall admonishing him for not telling you earlier?
Well, that I can't presuppose that that I hadn't known.
Goes on to say he felt it was wrong that field officers should be given guidance which tended to preclude this option, something he had found to be a significant step forward. What is referred to, what is meant by this option?
Of living in shared accommodation.
But it had been done before by the SDS, hadn't it, as is recorded?
Yes, but only, I think it was not it certainly wasn't standard practice or even common practice. It was obviously an important discussion point at the time.
What is different here, even for the SDS, is an officer embarking upon a long-term sexual relationship, cohabiting. That's what's new, isn't it? You are being told that he wants to maintain this long-term cohabitation.
No, that's not. No, that certainly is not the case.
I thanked him for his frankness. What had he been frank about?
Well, the matters that I report on.
Well, on the face of the document, he'd been anything but frank, because there'd been a dramatic change in his living arrangements, which you'd only just learned about.
I can't accept that. Well, I don't know today. It doesn't follow that was the case.
Was his frankness is that you'd had a clear discussion about how you were going to take forward work relating to Jamie and the conspiracy, having cleared the air about his living arrangements and decided that he was going to continue living with Alison, and you were going to record that he was living in a house of multiple occupation.
No, I don't believe that was the case.
Agreed to discuss the matter with HN 58. Did you discuss the matter with HN 58?
Well, I'm sure that I did. I can't recall today unless I'm shown reporting.
What did you tell HN 58 about DC Jenner's living arrangements?
What's in this report, together with any other matters that he perhaps was aware of, any other documentation at the time?
It has been known since 1996, since February 1996, that Jenner is living at Alison's property. Why is there a need to discuss with HN 58 anything at all about Jenner's living arrangements in the summer of 1997?
Well, it's difficult to answer that now. I can't recall. I'm uncertain about the dates involved, but I take your point.
It's because of the infiltration of Jamie's conspiracy and the risk that the truth about Jenner's living arrangements will become known to a wider range of people, isn't it?
No, I really don't think that is the case.
Were you full and frank with HN 58 about Jenner's living arrangements?
What was the question, please?
Were you full and frank with HN 58 about Jenner's living arrangements?
I'm sure that I would have been.
Did you tell HN 58 that Jenner was living with Alison in a sexual relationship?
No.
Can we take this document down now, please? Can we have 527833? Page 2. And if we could have that expanded, please. This is an authority for travel. It's dated the 6th of January. It appears to be retrospective. It's about a trip to Cumbria and Northumbria between the 29th of December 1996 and the 4th of January 97 for meetings. And bears your name and by then Edmondson's name I think on behalf of, is he an acting detective superintendent by that stage? In fact, we know that this was a trip that DC Jenner took with Alison, a holiday in the course of their sexual relationship to the Lake District over the New Year period. Can you help us with how this trip came to be authorised?
No, I can't recall it, no.
You have made the application for an authority, so presumably you have spoken to Jenner about it.
Yes.
There are basically a couple of possibilities. One is, by this stage, you know full well that Jenner is in a sexual relationship with Alison, and Jenner has told you the truth, and you are seeking to get an authorization for Jenner retrospectively for something that should never have been authorized, or the other is that he tells you, he's told you some lies, as a result of which you have applied for authorization of his trip. Can you help us? Which one of those was it?
Well, it would appear to be the latter.
You say appear to be. Was it?
Well, today, yes, all I can do is read what's in front of me. I've no recollection of it, but that would seem to be, as you say, only two possible contexts.
I'd be curious for the Colin Roach Centre, based in North London, to be holding meetings in Cumbria and Northumbria over a period of several days covering New Year, wouldn't it?
It might, on the face of it, it might, yes, it would appear so, but I think, this is a sort of brief retrospective application. There was always, management, I think, always had the understanding that group activity, there was always a combination of, I think, work in the sense that we're activists working around the clock really on their campaigns and combining it with social activity. So that's what it conveys to me.
Did you subject this application to any critical scrutiny and ask Jenner about it?
I beg your pardon?
Did you subject this application to any critical scrutiny and ask Jenner about it?
Well, I would expect so. I can't recall today, but I would have been familiar with, by then, with him as other officers, travelling within their close circle, and combining work in the sense of campaign discussions and social activity. It wouldn't have been anything more than that. So maybe, on reflection, whether or not, the point is that I genuinely did not know at that point, at any point there, that he was in a sexual relationship with Alison. But he may well have been with a group. I don't know.
Would it be fair to say that if you did not know, you did not care? You were just waving through these authorisations and not asking questions?
Again, well, you know, there have to be a case-by-case judgment. And I, what can I say today? I can't recall, but I would have been, you know, very familiar with that scenario. I'm just sort of trying to stick to your question about, you know, what seems unlikely, Cumbria, Northumbria, in, you know, over the New Year period. I think at the time it wouldn't have been unusual. It would have been understood that there'd be friendship issues, social issues that were involved in the trip. But this was, at the very least, this was part of an officer maintaining cover with his target group, key people.
I think I can stop you there. Can we take that document down now and have 37924, please? This is a page from Alison's diary. It is graphically headed "Holiday from Hell." It is about a holiday she went on with Detective Constable Jenner between the 3rd and the 18th of August 1997. If we could go to page 2, please. You will see there various references to Mark and being very unwell with pneumonia and being admitted to and then discharged from hospital. Did DC Jenner tell you he was going to Israel?
No.
Did he tell you he was going with Alison?
No.
Is it right that you found out that he had gone to Israel?
Is it right that
you subsequently found out that he had gone to Israel?
Not that I can recall.
And is it right that you found out that he had been to Israel with Alison?
Not that I can recall.
Mr. Jenner's evidence to this inquiry was that when he returned home, he confided in a colleague what had happened, and that colleague told you, and you passed back the message that Jenner could have told you the truth. Did that happen?
I think perhaps I've read that recently. No, I don't recall that at all.
Did anything like that happen?
Not to the best of my recollection.
Might it have happened?
I don't think so.
Can we take that down now, please? Can we have up 527802? And if we could have the text expanded. This is another request for authority. In this case, it's made by HN58 for DC Jenner and you to travel to Amsterdam. It's for the purposes of a CRC trip for an anti-fascist benefit is the justification that's given. If we go over the page, you see the details. Thank you. I'll give you a moment to look at that.
Yes, thank you.
Did you go to Amsterdam
Yes,
between Friday the 24th and Sunday the 26th of October?
I think, well, I have a recollection of travelling to Amsterdam. I'm sure this is the context.
The curiosity with this document, Mr. Lambert,
Yes.
is the evidence of Mark Metcalfe and that of Alison is they do not recall any trip to Amsterdam with the Colin Roach Centre. However, Alison's evidence to us is that she did go to Amsterdam with Mr. Jenner and two friends a month later, on the 28th of November 1997, for a short break. Mr. Jenner's evidence to the inquiry was to the same effect. There was no official CRC trip to Amsterdam as claimed on the authorization form. He says he told you that he was going to Amsterdam on a mini break with Alison and two others. Did DC Jenner tell you that he was going to Amsterdam on a mini break with Alison and two others?
No.
Mr. Jenner's evidence was that you, quote, put it up so he could get a ride on the back of it. In other words, he is accusing you of fraudulently arranging a jolly for yourself to Amsterdam. Is that true?
No.
Can you help us with what happened when you went to Amsterdam, starting with, was Mr. Jenner in Amsterdam at the same time as you?
Yes. My recollection is of being in a hotel room in Amsterdam, available for any emergency contact in the usual way. I don't recall there being any contact from Mark Jenner. Well, I'll leave it there.
Did you travel separately to Jenner or not?
Oh, of course. He would always travel separately, for sure.
If there was no contact with him whilst you were there, how do you know that he went?
Well, I can't recall today. I don't know what happened.
Would there have been paperwork for flights and so forth?
Yes.
And who would have processed those? Would you have seen them?
Not necessarily. I can't recall today.
Did you discuss what had happened when you got back from Amsterdam with Detective Constable Jenner?
I'm sure I would have done.
What did he tell you?
I can't recall precisely. I think it was the kind of event where they combined group work and social activity.
Do you have an actual recollection of him telling you that?
No.
Can we take that document down now, please? Is it right that you had contact with S at SDS social events during the course of DC Jenner's deployment?
Not that I can recall.
She would presumably have been invited to things like the SDS Christmas party.
Yes, yes.
Did you conceal from S her husband's sexual relationship with Alison?
Not knowingly.
Can we have up, please, MPS 309531? It's tab B247, please. We're moving forward in time here to post the deployment. This is a file note which you were shown for the purposes of making your witness statement. I'll give you a moment to refresh your memory.
Yes, thank you.
It would be perfectly expected, wouldn't it, for Terry to call you because you had been Jenner's detective inspector?
Not really. What year is this?
It's not dated with a year, but it is likely to have been following the end of the deployment, and so probably 2000.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't recall it, but I can understand it's possible that he was able to contact me, but it seems unusual that he didn't contact the office.
And was it unusual because it was Alison who was calling and that Terry wanted to tell you that Alison was calling as opposed to any subsequent manager in the SDS?
Well, what was the question precisely?
Yeah, you said it was unusual. I said, was it unusual because it was Alison who had called? And because it was Alison who had called, Terry felt he better tell you.
I don't know. I don't think so.
And then you passed it on to the office?
Yes. Well, reading this, that's what it says, yeah.
Can we take that down now, please? Going to move to Detective Constable Boyling's deployment. Detective Constable Boyling described you as a fixer of problems within the SDS, and that the dynamic between you and DCI Edmondson was that you were much more hands-on. He says he remembers having regular meetings with you discussing potential scenarios where future areas of interest might be, where there was a customer requirement for intelligence, whereas DCI Edmondson he describes as more of an overall administrator. Is that a fair characterization of how you worked and the division of responsibility between you and DCI Edmondson?
I think largely that was my role, but yeah, I worked very closely with DCI Edmondson, and at times, because of the very small office team, obviously at times he would sort of take on my role and vice versa.
I'm going to move now to Operation Gant. It may be relevant background to remind you that on the 9th of February 1996, the Provisional IRA bombed South Quay in the Docklands. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Outrage? Could we have up, please, 245949? This is an internal file note bearing your initials, the 16th of February, in other words, a week after the IRA attack. If we start with the second paragraph, please, so we can keep this in chronological order. In respect of the intelligence case put together expertly by DC, then we've redacted the constable's name, HN14 was able to discuss the matter fully with him at a meeting on Monday, the 12th of February. This was very productive and reassuring for the officer. We understand that is to say that Detective Constable Boyling has spoken to another Detective Constable in SO13 about Operation Gant. Are we understanding that correctly?
I don't know. It seems odd, doesn't it? HN14 is
Boiling.
Boiling, yeah. Was able to discuss.
If you wish to answer after you've seen more of the document, that's fine.
Okay, yeah.
Let's look at the first paragraph. This appears to be you saying that you discussed the current position yesterday, i.e. that would have been on the 15th of February, with Boiling, and outlined the current position, viz. SO13, are not actively investigating the case at present, and in the wake of Pyra's relaunch campaign in London, have no plans to do so unless further devices are sent to targets. Then it goes on. I'll let you read that for yourself. It's clear from what it goes on to say that you had been in contact with SO13 and you didn't want them at that stage conducting any searches or arrests.
Yes, but...
and essentially, as is written here, because of the IRA bombing and higher priorities, the SO13 file was going to gather dust.
Yes, whether the contact with SO13 was direct or through a special branch intermediary, but got the picture, yeah.
Understood. If and when it is reopened, I will ensure the same conditions apply. That means no searches or arrests.
Yes.
To protect your officer.
Yes.
As the investigating officer, the illustrious, and we've anonymised that officer, said to me in the central office lift, in answer to my unasked question, ALF, who's ALF? I've got bigger fish to fry now.
I think probably, yeah, Alf, who's Alf?
All right, thank you. So he was making a joke in bad taste and essentially communicating to you that the IRA work was of much higher priority.
Yes.
Does that help you with whether or not the contact between you and SO13 was direct?
Well, at that point, I suppose, but yeah, sure.
But the message is loud and clear. Operation Gant is on hold.
Yes.
Was the operation resumed, to your knowledge?
I can't recall now. I obviously would have been aware at the time.
Can we now take that document down now and have up 728967? Your tab B145, sir. This is the Special Demonstration Squad Annual Report for 1995 to 1996. If we could go to page 9, please. And animal rights and environmental extremism. We can take it, can we, that as it being the 1995-1996 annual report, that's following the financial year 95 to 96, isn't it?
I think so, yes.
So it will have been written after February 1996.
Yes.
This is signed by the DCI. Did you assist writing the section on animal rights?
Well, I may have done. I think generally the DCI wrote it up. Sometimes the intelligence reporting sergeant would assist as well.
If you didn't write it, would you have read it?
Yes, I would.
Could we look at the third paragraph down on the page, please? Give you a moment to read that, but it's the second half of the paragraph I'm most interested in.
Yes, thank you.
This document is going to be circulated up the chain of command, isn't it?
Yes.
It's
yes.
the SDS's opportunity to market itself to higher authority.
Yes.
And we see that phrases such as unparalleled success appear in this paragraph, and that's not untypical of the language of annual reports, is it? In a separate case, SDS Intelligence has produced a strong indication that a previously little-known activist in East London is responsible for a series of small IEDs. This lead is being investigated under the auspices of Operation Grunt. This lead is being investigated. That wasn't true by the time this document was written, was it?
Difficult to recall, but I take your point about the dates. Difficult today to be certain, though. I don't know what the explanation is.
There's an exaggeration, an example of an exaggeration in an SDS annual report to make the SDS's work sound more important than it actually was.
It's possible, but, we, at the time, it may have been accurate.
If we take that down now, please. Can we go to, it's a UCPI number 38277. Do you recall Detective Constable Boiling being arrested at Good Easter, or in the vicinity of Good Easter, in 1996? I beg your pardon. I should have said Detective Constable Boiling being present at a sabotage of the Good Easter hunt at which other people were arrested.
Yes, yes.
Do you recall that happening?
I don't recall, but I do recall that, when I read this, it, comes back to mind, yeah.
There's been a hunt, an intention to sabotage a hunt at Good Easter on the 10th of February 1996. Before that could happen, a number of people have been arrested in the presence of Detective Constable Boiling acting in his undercover identity. This document is a solicitor, Michael Schwartz, writing to Detective Constable Boiling in his cover identity, seeking his assistance as a witness in the defence of those criminal charges. Were you aware that this approach had been made of DC Boiling?
I could have been, at the time, I've no clear recollection. I'm sure if I was, there'd be some, at the time there would have been, reporting on it. I don't know if there will be.
Is this something you would have expected DC Boiling to tell you?
Yes, for sure.
If we could have up now 38278, please. This is a telephone attendance note made by, someone at the firm of solicitors concerned. It records that he'd called in and will be delighted to act as a witness, providing a mobile telephone number on which to call. Can you recall whether or not you authorised Boiling to volunteer to be a witness?
I can't recall today, no.
Can you recall whether anyone else authorised Boiling to be a witness?
No.
Given SDS methodology, would you have expected to have authorised Boiling to be a witness if he had asked?
Yes, I would have expected that, we'd have wanted to know and then decide the way forward, yeah.
It's not quite an answer to my question. Is it likely the answer would have been yes? Keep your cover, say that you will cooperate.
Yes.
Can we take that down now, please? UCPI number 38274. This is an unsigned witness statement which the solicitors state that they took from DC Boiling in his cover identity. Were you aware that Mr. Sutton, in that being his cover identity, had cooperated to the extent of providing an account to the solicitors?
Can I read through
yes,
it?
Please do. If you indicate when you're ready to go over to the page,
yes,
and
thank
you
you.
See the rest of it.
Yes, thank you.
Can you recall whether you knew that Boiling had provided an account to the solicitors?
I can't recall.
Can you recall whether Boiling said whether or not he'd provided an account to the solicitors?
No.
Can you recall whether you gave Boiling any advice as to what he should say if he gave an account to the solicitors?
No.
What would your advice have been to Boiling if he had sought it as to what he should say if providing an account to solicitors?
It's virtually impossible to say today. I'd have been clear at the time. So given, it it would depend on, on a whole range of considerations, I'm sure, at the time, which I find, difficult to call to mind.
Could you very briefly explain what you think the options would have been that you would have considered before advising?
Well, on the one hand, the need to maintain cover, but in terms of, on the opposite hand, or in relation to that, the option of avoiding this course of action here, constructing a plausible reason why he could not attend court.
My question was focused on what he should say happened.
Well, obviously, to be accurate in his account.
The whole truth or selective?
I think, accurate, for sure.
It doesn't quite answer my question. The whole truth or selective?
I don't quite understand the question, or I can't quite apply it here, but yes, the whole truth, I'm sure.
Except for his real identity.
I'm sorry. Yes, well, of course. Yes, sorry. Yeah.
Do you know whether or not Boiling attended either the court or in the vicinity of the court on the day of the trial?
I don't recall. I'm sure I would have expected to have a clear understanding at the time.
There were not just criminal proceedings, there were also civil proceedings arising from this incident because ultimately claims were made against the Commissioner. Were you aware of that?
Again, I'm sure I would have been at the time.
Would it be right to think that the Commissioner's lawyers, for reasons of operational security, would not have been told that an undercover police officer was present when the arrests took place?
I can't be certain, but I guess that's probable. I don't recall.
Probable that they wouldn't have been told.
Yes.
So would that be a convenient moment to take the morning break?
Yes. Before we do, I would like to deal briefly with a topic that has been canvassed this morning. Jenner, HN15, his living arrangements.
Yes.
It was not unprecedented, but was unusual for an undercover officer to reside with an activist on a long-term basis.
Yes.
You were in charge of the welfare and deployment arrangements for undercover officers.
Yes.
There is a document which was shown to you describing the living arrangements of Jenner in Alison's flat. We don't know from the document precisely when that was included in the SDS records, but it's been recovered from the SDS records. So do you accept that it must have been there when you were in operational charge?
Yes.
It follows, I think, that you must have known that he was sharing accommodation with an activist.
Well, with a group of activists.
We'll come on to the group of activists later, but at the time of the plan, it's a plan of a small one-story bit of accommodation, if you like, a flat. Is it not?
Yeah, I can't be certain, sir. I don't think I had a clear picture that he was living with a single activist in a flat. I don't think I did. Now, if I'd, obviously it seems that I should have seen that plan at the time, and I should have studied it. I can't recall it, but
put to one side for a moment the plan.
Yeah.
What I'm concerned about is your knowledge of and discussion with Jenner about his living arrangements.
Yes.
You must surely have asked him to tell you in sufficient detail so that you could understand what they were.
Indeed, yes. And, today, my genuine recollection, prior to the report where I talk about the change, my genuine recollection is of him having an occupancy, that there was a landlord. I think I knew it was a female landlord. I think I understood it to be someone he knew. I didn't subject it, obviously, to the kind of scrutiny that I should have done, or how a different DI might have done. That's my general recollection, that he had an activist landlord. Yes, in a small area. I did not picture, at any point, I did not picture him cohabiting with a woman, and even, certainly not a sexual relationship.
By the time we get to the next and long document in which the cell is described and his living with, in a larger building, a large number of activists, that was at the time of the changeover between DCI Edmondson and DCI HN 58, was it not?
I don't recall. Yes.
Well, the date of changeover is the 1st of July,
yes,
and
right.
The document is July.
Yes, yes.
And you were going to tell HN 58 about the arrangements described.
Right, yes, yes.
Now, they were very different from those which had previously been described to you, were they not?
Yes, yes.
Did you ask what had changed?
Well, yes, yes, indeed.
And the answer?
Well, what I described.
Why did you not then put in the document that the arrangements had changed?
Well, I think I do.
No, not from living in his own bedsit, but from living in a flat with a female activist and living in a house with a larger number of activists. That was a change, wasn't it?
Yes.
Then why not describe the change in the document?
I can't, well, I think I can explain it now in the sense that that was a document for the purpose, an operational purpose. I'm sure that the actual accommodation would have been reported separately.
Sorry, I don't understand that. What do you mean?
That it would have been dealt with separately. The accommodation issue.
By whom?
It could have been me, it could have been one of the sergeants, I don't know.
I would like you, if you wouldn't mind, reflecting upon precisely what you did know or believe to be the case about Jenna's living arrangements. I won't ask for an immediate answer, but it's a topic to which we may return when we reach the end of your evidence. But I would ask you to reflect on it, please.
Thank you.
And it's important that I have the truth. Thank you. Then we'll break for a quarter of an hour. Mr. Barr.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Lambert, we're going to move now to Mr. Boyling's reporting on Reclaim the Streets. We have recovered a great deal of reporting on Reclaim the Streets by Detective Constable Boyling, for example, about a protest on the M41, protest in Liverpool, an action that was interrupted on the Dartford Bridge, the March for Social Justice, a demonstration in Bristol, and so on. Can I take it that you are well aware of DC Boyling's infiltration of Reclaim the Streets?
Yes.
And you were aware that he had reached the stage where he was a member of the core organising group?
Yes.
And that resulted in a great deal of precise, accurate intelligence about RTS's intentions.
Yes.
I want to specifically pick up on the March for Social Justice, which occurred on the 12th of April 1997, shortly before the general election in that year, sometimes also allied with the Never Mind the Ballots protest. It's right, isn't it, that DC Boyling reported on detailed plans to take over a building on Marsham Street, a partly occupied government building. That's right.
Yes, I recall that, yeah.
And the disclosed route of the march was going to involve crossing Lambert Bridge, turning right with an ultimate destination of Trafalgar Square, but RTS were planning to break off, go up Horseferry Road onto Marsham Street and occupy the building.
Yes.
From his position within the core organising group, Boyling produced a detailed running commentary on plans, didn't he?
Indeed, yes.
Can we look at some of that? First, MPS 40250. This is a report of the 20th of March. If we could have page 2, please. And if we look at the source comment, that would be Detective Constable Boyling's comment, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would be.
So his advice, if I'm understanding it correctly, from within the core organising group is to the effect of whatever you do, don't indulge in any last-minute disruption or seizure of equipment because it will incense them and you will have serious public order problems on your hands.
Yes.
If we could take that down now, please, and have MPS 40270. This is a report on the 3rd of April, so 9 days before the event. This has got very detailed reporting on planning, including a plan to go, their fallback tactics to go to Trafalgar Square. Could we look at page 2, the penultimate comment? No fallback plans. RTS is committed to taking the DOE building. If the police line at Lambert Bridge cannot be breached, RTS activists will lead participants to the building down side streets. If the building cannot be taken, the spare sound system will be started up in Trafalgar Square and the crowd will rampage through Westminster to get there. If this too is thwarted, a riot can be virtually guaranteed. What RTS will not be able to tolerate is a day on which nothing happens. If police prevent them from carrying out their plans, RTS will want to show their followers that it costs the police dearly. So despite saying there are no fallback plans, there plainly was one, which was Trafalgar Square.
Yes.
But again, even more emphatically, the advice from the man on the ground with his in the centre of things is whatever you do, don't disrupt your plans because you will get a worse result.
Yes.
Can we have page 3, please, in the source comment? If anything, that's even more emphatic to the same effect, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Take that down, please. MPS 40279. And this is the 9th information obtained on the 9th. It's about some of the leaflets that are going to be produced, and it's also about a plan to break the police line at Horseferry Road. If we go to page 2, please, and if we go to the handler's comment, the handler this time as opposed to the source, would that be one of the detective sergeants?
I think so, yes.
But very much the message, the SDS message, very much the same, consistent over these various reports.
Yes.
Do not thwart their plans. Presumably you would have been aware of all of this intelligence coming in.
I would, yeah.
And this is going to be quite a big demonstration, isn't it?
It is.
And this is quite a troubling plan.
Yes.
One of the bigger deals for the SDS.
Yes.
We have heard evidence that on the day the police, a decision had been taken to allow the march to go to Trafalgar Square on the day, but to prevent the occupation of Marsham Street. In particular, that led to very heavy policing at Horseferry Road, and in the result, the demonstrators were not able to get through and were not able to occupy the building. Is it your recollection that the building was not occupied?
Yes.
We heard some evidence about how that decision came to be made. What is your recollection of who made the decision that, contrary to Boyling's advice and the handler's opinion, the police should stop the occupation of the building?
Yeah, I don't recall the detail. Obviously, the Jim Boyling's intelligence is being fed through to C Squad in the usual way, and then C Squad are compiling a threat assessment that goes to the public order branch. I don't recall what the factors were that the public order chief was having to deal with.
Are you able to help us with whether or not the Home Secretary, who at the time was Michael Howard, was aware of plans for the demonstration and consulted about how to deal with it?
I think I probably was aware of high-level interest. Well, I would have been aware at the time, and I think more recently I may have been reminded of that from reading.
Detective Constable Boyling's evidence was that he was given to understand that it was the Home Secretary who had said he did not want the building on Marsham Street to be occupied. Do you know anything about
I have
that?
a vague recollection of that. If not the identification of the Home Secretary, but the Home Office.
Can you help us at all in fleshing out any of the detail of that?
I can't, no.
And presumably for a decision to have been taken that flatly contradicted the SDS's advice would have been memorable.
Well, up to a point, but not necessarily that surprising, given that the police operation has got to take in a much wider range of considerations, but yes, obviously disappointment.
And in the result, there was some disorder at the end of the event in Trafalgar Square, wasn't there?
Yes.
Can we take this document down now, please, and can we have up 247160, tab B205, sir? This is the 1996-97 annual report, bears DCI Edmonton's name. Can I ask again, by this stage, is there any difference in the extent and nature of your contribution to the annual report?
Just as said, yeah.
Could we have page 5, please? Paragraph 4.2. And can I invite you to read the first 5 lines? Now, looking at what it says about the event we have just been exploring, the phrase accurate SDS intelligence of RTS plans to disrupt the event and to occupy a government building is all factually correct, isn't it?
Yes.
But it goes on, gainfully employed on the day, enabling serious disorder and embarrassment to be avoided. Well, that's not quite true, is it? The advice was ignored and there was some disorder.
Yes, indeed.
But it would be fair to say, though, that the embarrassment of a government building being occupied was avoided.
Yes.
And the intelligence was used, as far as you understand it, right up to Michael Howard to enable an informed decision to be made.
Yes.
So would you accept a degree of embellishment in this report, albeit to a matter on which it can fairly be said the SDS did provide intelligence of significant policing value?
Yes.
Could we have up, please, 722649? If we go over one page. This is a statement under caution given by Detective Constable Boyling in 2012, as we understand it, for the purposes of disciplinary proceedings. If we could have page 3, please. Paragraph 3. I'll invite you to read it, but I'm particularly interested in the second half of this paragraph and to the reference to a letter of appreciation from a subsequent Home Secretary Jack Straw. Can you help us with whether or not the SDS received a letter of appreciation from Jack Straw, whether it was sent directly or reached the SDS indirectly through the police chain of command?
I can't recall it specifically. I would expect that that is correct.
When you say you would expect it's correct, if you can't recall, can you help us why you think it would be correct?
Well, number one would be that Jim Boyling, I think, would be bound to remember it, and I don't think he would invent it.
Do you have any independent recollection to assist the inquiry to determine whether or not this is true?
I don't, no.
And would it follow that you're not able to help the inquiry as to what any such letter of appreciation might have been about?
No.
Could we take that down, please? Detective Constable Boyling conducted 3 deceitful sexual relationships whilst he was undercover. The first such relationship was with a woman we are calling Monica. We understand that relationship to have taken place between April 1996 and about November 1997, and that it started on the night of the March for Social Justice. Did Detective Constable Boyling say anything to you about his sexual relationship with Monica?
No.
Did he allude to it in any way?
Not that I can recall.
Did you become aware that he was having a sexual relationship with Monica in any other way?
No.
For example, through other sources of reporting on RTS?
No.
Did you take any steps to ask Detective Constable Boyling whether or not he was involved in a sexual relationship undercover?
No.
Detective Constable Boyling's second deceitful sexual relationship in his undercover identity was with a woman we are calling Ruth. It took place, as far as we understand it, between November 1997 to July or August 1999. Did Detective Constable Boyling say anything to you about that sexual relationship?
No.
Or allude to it?
No.
Did you become aware in any other way of that relationship?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm reasonably sure.
Did you take any steps at that stage in Detective Constable Boyling's deployment to ascertain whether or not he was indulging in sexual activity undercover?
Not that I can recall.
Both Detective Constable Francis and HN1 have told the inquiry that they knew that Detective Constable Boyling was having sex in his undercover identity, and that he had told them that managers were aware. Are you sure you were not aware?
Yes, I am.
Might you have been?
I don't think so.
The third sexual deception practiced by Detective Constable Boiling was on a woman we are calling Rosa. It started after you had left the SDS, we believe around about 23rd of November 1999. There came a time after Detective Constable Boiling had exfiltrated when he met Rosa in Kingston upon Thames on the 5th of November 2001. And we know that he re-established his sexual relationship with Rosa at that stage, and it's well known they went on to get married and they had children. Detective Constable Boiling's evidence to this inquiry is that he consulted you about resuming his sexual relationship with Rosa. Did you meet Detective Constable Boiling and speak on that subject?
No, I don't recall that.
Presumably it would have been a very memorable event.
Yes.
My question is wide enough to cover meeting to discuss Rosa in any circumstances around the time either before or after they got back together in 2001. I know you went to see them in 2007, and I will be coming to that. But at any other time, did you meet Boiling in circumstances where you knew that he was resuming or thinking about resuming or had resumed a sexual relationship with Rosa?
Certainly, when that sexual relationship resumed, I became aware. It's difficult to be certain about the actual timing. The only clarity I have is of speaking to him when we were working together. I mean, not 2007. I think much earlier. I think it would have been around 2002. So quite soon after this encounter in Kingston, and then he described the situation very fully and clearly.
Can you recall when in 2002?
No, I can't recall, but it would. I mean, the date. There would be a date when he joined the same unit as me. I think that was around 2002, but I can't.
Was it soon after he joined the unit?
Probably, yeah.
Is this a Muslim contact unit?
Yes.
Where were you when he told you?
I think just in an office context.
Were you alone or was anybody else present?
Oh, well, I can't remember, but I imagine it would have, I think almost certainly it would have been the two of us.
And when you say he described the state of the situation very fully to you, could you explain what he said to you?
Well, it was, it was that he recounted what had happened, how she had tracked him down, and it seemed a bit coincidental, but I suppose it was one of those things. The way he described it, I think, was that she met him in a library perhaps it was in Kingston, I think, and that almost immediately they got back together. Now, I'm actually thinking maybe, well, it's difficult with memory. I mean, at some point, I don't know whether we have a date for the time when I visit him and Rosa. I don't.
You visit him and Rosa with Sergeant Webb in 2007.
Not Webb, but another War.
War. Is it? Forgive me.
Yeah. Is that as late as 2007?
17th of January 2007, and you're quite right. It's Sergeant War.
So it's difficult to be sure, how much I learnt, but certainly within the Muslim contact period, that's when I learnt from him directly about his relationship with Rosa, which very, very quickly resulted in them getting married and having children.
Who initiated the conversation?
I'm sure that, I don't recall, but I'm sure that Jim Boyling did.
Why did he initiate it?
The only clarity I have is at the point where D.S. War and myself went to see them was when they had received some particular medical information that prompted the welfare visit.
That's a 2007 visit. What I'm driving at is, why did Detective Constable Boyling choose to tell you about what he was doing with Rosa in 2002?
Probably, well, again, I don't want to speculate. I can't be certain.
But he certainly felt he was able to share that information with you.
Yes.
Was he seeking any advice from you?
No, not beyond the sort of practicalities, I suppose, because at whatever point when he was living in a particular location that had an impact on his if you like, working routine.
I don't want you to mention any other place, geographic place specifically, but our understanding is at that time he is living in Kingston upon Thames or somewhere very much in that vicinity.
Yeah, well then...
Is that right?
Initially, but I think the point of this, when he first told me, I'm sure that he was living outside London, and probably wanted me to be aware of that he and Rosa were cohabiting. They were, committed to each other, that she knew who he really was, and that, and that they were embarking on married life, I think, living together.
Had they had children by that point? Or had they had any children at that point?
I'm sorry to be very vague about it. I obviously, come the visit with DS War, of course, then I actually saw from...
Yeah, I will come to that in due course, but when he tells you in this conversation, which you think is about 2002...
this is where I apologise, but I've got no... I can't be certain about dates.
Going back to what he told you, from the account you've given, it was implicit that he had been in a sexual relationship with Rosa during his deployment. You use the phrase "back together."
Oh, so what was your last comment?
On the basis of your evidence,
yes,
it's implicit from what he told you that he was telling you he had been in a relationship during his deployment.
I think, yes, yes, definitely, yes.
Well, let me put it perfectly neutrally. Was this the first occasion on which you learned that Boiling had had any sexual relationship undercover?
Yes.
And since Detective Constable Boiling's account is that he sought you out for advice around the time that he got back together with Rosa, does it follow from your evidence that you do not think he is correct about that?
Yeah, well, yes, I think there's my recollection, obviously, it appears to become later, a bit later, when we're working together. That's what I can recall.
When Boiling makes these disclosures to you, what do you think?
What do I think?
Yeah.
Well, I obviously very surprised, but I think I can recall that he wanted to reassure me that Rosa was completely, that she was aware of his background. That seemed quite an incredible thing. But yeah, I would have. I think it was they were together. and he was telling me.
What did you say to him?
Well, I think I was in listening mode. I can't recall what I actually said.
If you can't recall what you actually said, can you help us with at least the gist or the thrust of what you actually said to him?
No, I don't think I can.
Did you tell him to stop?
I think it seemed to me that didn't seem to be an option.
Did you tell him that what he had done was ill-advised?
Again, I don't want to speculate. But I would have, I think, felt that it was a done deal.
Did you discuss the operational security of the SDS with him in the light of his conduct?
I think, I can't recall today.
Is it likely that you did?
I'm sure it's likely, yes.
This is the most colossal breach of the Golden Rule, isn't it?
Yes.
Were you not little more than surprised, but also deeply concerned?
Yeah, almost, yes, probably.
Mr. Boiling, would I be right, was in your chain of command at this stage?
Yes.
Did you take any formal action?
I can't recall today.
It's quite a significant decision you had to make, isn't it? What to do about the fact that one of your subordinates has just admitted to sexually deceiving a woman undercover, and to have got back together with her, disclosed to her that he was an undercover police officer, and making a new life with her. Can you really not remember what you did, whether or not you decided to take this up through any formal channel?
Not to
take this, whether you decided whether or not
Yes.
to take it up through a formal channel?
to a formal.
Through a formal channel.
The only action that I would have thought about was discussing it with SDS managers.
Can I take it from that answer that you did not initiate any formal action against Detective Constable Boiling?
Correct.
Did you tell anyone in your chain of command in the Muslim contact unit?
I almost certainly did, but at what point, I don't know.
And who did you tell in the Muslim contact unit?
I can't recall today.
Can, by reference to post, who would you have told?
I can't recall.
Would there have been any operational security reason not to tell anybody within the Muslim contact unit?
It wouldn't have been on, I don't think that would have been a consideration.
Can you give me a yes or no answer to this one? Were there any former SDS officers or managers higher than you in the Muslim contact unit at that time?
No, I don't think so.
Did you contact anybody in the SDS or formally of the SDS following Boyling's disclosures to you?
I can't recall, but at some point I did, but
Being very careful about anonymity, please, and if you need to, just write it down. Who did you contact?
I don't have a clear recollection, I'm afraid.
Did Boyling tell you whether or not the unit already knew?
Yes, I think, well, I can't recall what he told me. I think I certainly became aware of some SDS management knowledge, involvement.
When did you become so aware?
I can't pin it down, I'm afraid.
What management involvement did you become aware of?
Well, I suppose the issue of Rosa trying to, tracking him down.
When you say the issue of Rosa tracking him down, what do you mean by that, please?
I can't specify it now. I think there was some awareness of Rosa's efforts to find him.
Were you aware at the time she was trying to locate Boyling that he was doing so?
Pardon?
Were you aware at the time that Rosa was trying to locate Boyling that she was doing so?
I can't recall.
Presumably there will have come a time at which you will have discussed this remarkable occurrence, this relationship and its resumption with fellow SDS managers, past or present.
Yes, but specifically the management team.
Did they know that Rosa was trying to find Boyling?
I can't recall.
Did they know that Rosa was a woman who Boyling had sexually deceived undercover?
I can't recall.
When you say you can't recall, is that because it's a sort of detail that wouldn't have been particularly important one way or the other, given the way the SDS operated?
Forgive me.
I said, is the reason you can't recall because it wouldn't have mattered very much one way or the other, given the way the SDS operated?
No, I think it's just the just difficult recalling, that's all.
We started on Monday with the Chitty affair, which, as we established, ended up with Mike Blake being able to continue his liaison with Lizzie because it seemed like the least risky thing to do. We're in the same position with boiling, are we? That it was decided to let the relationship continue because it was the least risky thing to do.
No, I don't. I think it's quite different.
Well, in what ways is the risk picture different other than Rosa already knows? You presumably don't want to do anything to upset the boat and cause either Boiling or Rosa to go public.
Okay, yes, I accept that. So I suppose that would have been going through my mind, I'm sure. I do think that I was presented, though, with a wholly different kind of scenario. This was a very committed relationship. That's what it was when I was first told, whenever precisely that was. It was the only possible security problem for the SDS would arise if the relationship broke down. But I guess when DS War and I, when we paid a visit to Jim Boiling and Rosa, whichever year that was, we were both able to make that judgment. We were exposing ourselves to Rosa, not without risk, and only the most severe or serious kind of issue which we were there for, to offer help.
Can I just stop you there? You say exposing yourselves to Rosa. Can I take it from that answer that Rosa knew that you were a former SDS undercover police officer?
Well, not necessarily, but certainly.
Well, what do you mean by expose yourself then?
Well, there was that clear potential. She knew who, Jim Boiling had disclosed. He said to me that he had told Rosa who he was, and
did he say to you he'd told Rosa who you were?
No.
Can I come back to you? Said you and Sergeant War were exposing yourselves by going to see her. Can I take it from that one way or another she knew that you were ex-SDS, as was Sergeant War?
There was an obvious risk that she might know that, or that she might subsequently find out. It doesn't really matter. The risk issue would have been obviously apparent to both DS War and myself. The only the only successful outcome in terms of, security of the STS was in supporting Jim Boyling and Rosa at this particular time of great need.
Let's move on then to 2007. Can we have up 748895, please? And if we have page 2, please. This is a welfare report about Detective Constable Boyling. It's dated the 3rd of March 2007. It's described as an update of the welfare situation, and it starts saying, on the 17th of January 2007, in company with Detective Inspector Lambert, I visited Jim Boyling and family at their home address. Can we start off, first of all, with the backdrop? If this is an update, can you help us in broad terms with the background that led up to this visit in January 2007?
Very, very shortly before the 17th of January, I received a phone call from Jim Boyling explaining a serious problem, and first and foremost, he was sharing it with me, but it was obviously, for the benefit of this inquiry, the fact that he was ringing me up one evening. I was at home. It demonstrates that I knew that he felt able to ring me and talk about this issue. So by that stage, I know that he and Rosa and their family, this is that they're married, they're together, they've obviously been living together for quite a long time. Given the location, Jim was able to work effectively and, as you'd expect, extremely well in his current role with me, and the fact, just by virtue of the location, we were able to adjust his working hours.
I think we've perhaps wandered a little way from the question. I
I
wanted to know about the run-up. So this meeting arises because he's raised a welfare concern with you.
Yes, shortly before.
And you go with Sergeant War. Did Sergeant War already know that Boyling was living with a woman he had a sexual relationship with whilst undercover?
I don't know that he had much or any prior knowledge. I can't recall, but certainly he and I went to that meeting with that full knowledge. Yeah.
In the intervening 5 years or thereabouts, between 2002, as best you can recall it, when he first disclosed to you, and 2007, when you go to see him for the welfare report, would it be right to say you'd continued to work together?
Yes.
seen a lot of one another,
Yes.
and talked about one another's personal lives,
Yes.
including him talking to you about Rosa getting married, having children.
Yes.
Whose decision is it to conduct this welfare visit? Is it yours?
Yes.
Who else knows? Do your superiors know that you are going to see a former undercover police officer who is living with a woman he first got involved with whilst undercover?
I can't recall.
It's quite an important detail,
It
Mr.
is.
Lambert. Can you
Yeah.
do your best to help us with
Right.
it?
Yeah. No. Well, this I had no recollection of informing my senior management above only, obviously, the fact that we were carrying out an important welfare visit, but but I would not have disclosed to my management the identity or background of Rosa.
For reasons of the operational security of the SDS.
Yes.
Obviously, one purpose of the visit was welfare of Boiling and his family. Was another reason for the visit to assess whether there was any further change to the risk to the operational security of the SDS?
Well, it would obviously provide that opportunity, but the visit only happened. It was not. Would never. I don't think it would have been contemplated, but it was just the particular context that prompted the welfare visit.
Presumably, if you had gleaned anything material to the operational security of the SDS, you would have considered acting upon it.
Yes.
Did you glean anything material to the operational security of the SDS in this visit?
Nothing that comes to mind immediately. I think generally, I think we had what can we say, a positive impression about them as a couple. I think probably it was, despite the circumstances, it was reassuring to see them in their home as a truly committed couple.
Did you report the fact of the visit and update the state of affairs to the SDS management of the time?
I'm honestly not sure. I would have done it at some stage.
Well, you say that, Mr. Lambert,
yes.
But by the start of 2007,
yes,
new brooms have started to arrive in the SDS, haven't they?
Yes, that's true.
Were they people with whom you were going to share this sort of detail?
I would have been taking that sort of thing into account.
Does that mean you did not tell the new brooms at the SDS because you were concerned what their reaction might have been? I've
never put my mind to this, but I can't recall immediately.
We appear to have reached a stage where your evidence is that you know that Detective Constable Boyling is living with a woman who he had sexually deceived, but has now declared himself to the woman concerned. Did you explore with Boyling at any time what he'd said to Rosa about the unit and undercover police tactics? And for obvious reasons, I do not want any precise details. But in general terms, had you explored that subject with him?
Yes, I think I would have done in conversation, and I think he sought to, well, he did, yes, I can remember. He sought to reassure me that, he'd handled it well, and that, that I did not need to be worried about any risks, that I think that he would. I think he said that Rosa was, no longer involved with activist circles.
Did you explore with him what he had told Rosa, and in particular, did you glean from Boyling that he had told Rosa anything that he should not have done?
I would have done. I can't remember the details. I remember that he sought to reassure me, but clearly I was aware that it was a risk.
Are we in the position in 2007? You know what's happening with Boyling and Rosa. You have not told the higher chain of command within the Muslim Contact Unit. You have not told the new present management of the SDS.
Quite possibly.
Yes or no?
Well, I can't be certain. In terms of, yes, my present management, but I've no clear recollection, so I can't.
And you'd not told any superior from the historic SDS chain of command?
No, not that I can recall.
You had taken it upon yourself to keep this all hush-hush?
I think that's, that's certainly possible.
It's more than possible, isn't it? It's what you did.
Well, it may well be. Yeah.
That was a very serious dereliction of duty, wasn't it?
It may well be.
It was, wasn't it?
I'm not sure.
Why not?
Well, I obviously, at the time, I thought I was doing the right thing.
That's not my question.
Yes.
You are a detective inspector in a hierarchical organisation. You are choosing to keep to yourself highly relevant information about operational security and professional conduct. You should have reported those matters, shouldn't you?
Yes, I probably should.
So is that an appropriate time to break for lunch?
Certainly. We'll resume, if we can, please, at or immediately after 2 o'clock.